Jake Morrison walked across the bridge of his ship, the Valiant. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. Outside the window, stars stretched in every direction. It had been 3 years since the war started. 3 long years of fighting the Velcor. Amy Brooks sat at her station, her fingers moving fast over the controls. She was listening to enemy signals like she did every day. But today something was different. Her face went pale. "Commander, you need to hear this," she said. Jake walked over to her station. "What is it?" "It's a Velcor transmission. But it's not encrypted. They never send messages without encryption." Jake felt something cold in his stomach. The Velcor were smart. They never made mistakes like this. "Play it." The voice that came through the speakers was clear. It spoke English. Perfect English. "This is Captain Veron of the Velcor science vessel Meditation.
We are under attack.
Our weapons are offline. We have no military capability. Please, whoever receives this, we are a civilian research team. We are studying stars. We mean no harm to anyone." Nobody on the bridge spoke. They all stared at the speakers. Jake felt his heart beat faster. Amy looked up at him. Her hands were shaking. "Commander, our records show we destroyed the Meditation 6 months ago. We listed it as a military target. Pull up the report from that battle." The information appeared on the screen. Jake read it carefully. The Meditation had been marked as a warship because of its size. The Earth fleet had attacked without warning. They gave no chance to surrender. They just fired their weapons until the ship exploded. "Get me Admiral Clark right now," Jake said. The Admiral's face appeared on the screen. He was an old man with gray hair and tired eyes. Jake had always respected him. "Sir, we need to talk about the Velcor. I think something is very wrong with this war." The Admiral's face showed no emotion. "Commander Morrison, return to Earth right away. We will talk about this in person, not over communication channels." The screen went black. Jake looked around his bridge. His crew was watching him. They all had questions in their eyes. "Set course for Earth," he said. "Full speed." The journey back took 3 days. Jake didn't sleep much. He kept thinking about that message. A civilian research team. No weapons. They were studying stars. And Earth forces had killed them without asking any questions. When they reached Earth, military police met Jake at the landing bay. They didn't arrest him, but they didn't leave him alone either. They took him to a building underground in Geneva. The hallways were white and cold. Guards stood everywhere. They brought him to a small room with a table and chairs. Admiral Clark was there. So was Lisa Grant from Intelligence and General Paul Hayes from Strategic Command. "Sit down, Commander," the Admiral said. Jake sat. He waited. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Finally, Lisa Grant leaned forward. "What you discovered is classified at the highest level. Only a few people in the entire military know the truth." "What truth?" Jake asked. "The Velcor never attacked us," she said. Jake felt like someone had hit him in the chest. "What did you say?" Admiral Clark took over. 30 years ago, we detected Velcor ships entering our solar system. They were explorers. Scientists, they tried to make peaceful contact with Earth. "That's not what the history books say," Jake said. "The history books are wrong," General Hayes said. "The history books are lies." Lisa pulled up holographic images. Old transmissions from space. Jake watched Velcor ships sending messages to Earth. The messages were in many languages. English, Chinese, Spanish, Arabic, and more. Every message said the same thing. "We come in peace. We want to learn about you. We want to share knowledge. We want to be friends." "So what happened?" Jake asked, though he was afraid he already knew. "The governments of Earth were scared," the Admiral said. "Here was an alien race with ships better than ours, with technology we couldn't match. Some leaders saw them as a threat. They thought if we didn't strike first, the Velcor might take over Earth. A military faction launched an attack without authorization," General Hayes continued. "They destroyed multiple Velcor ships before anyone could stop them. Hundreds of Velcor died, maybe thousands. The Velcor tried to defend themselves," Lisa said. "They fought back. But they were careful. They tried not to kill humans. They disabled our ships instead of destroying them. They kept trying to communicate. They kept asking why we were attacking them." Jake put his head in his hands. "And our government lied about it. By the time the truth came out among leadership, dozens of Velcor ships were gone," the Admiral said. "Hundreds of our own ships were damaged or destroyed. People on both sides were dead. The leaders made a choice. They decided it was easier to tell everyone that the Velcor had attacked us first. They created false evidence. They changed records. They built a whole war on a lie. 3 years, Jake said quietly. 3 years of fighting. Thousands of people dead on both sides, and none of it was real. It gets worse, Lisa said. The people who started this war, they're still in power. They're in the government. They're in the military. They've been changing intelligence reports. They've been making sure the war continues, because if the truth comes out, they lose everything. Jake looked up at them. Why are you telling me this? Because there are people who want to stop it, Admiral Clark said. We've been gathering proof. We've been collecting evidence. But we need someone the crews trust, someone who can bring this information to light. You want me to expose the conspiracy? We want you to end the war, Lisa said, before more innocent people die. Before this lie destroys both our species. Jake stood up and walked to the wall. He pressed his hand against the cold surface. Behind this wall were millions of people who believed in the war, who believed they were protecting Earth, who believed the Velcor were monsters. If I do this, I'll be called a traitor, he said. Probably, the Admiral agreed. I might be arrested, court-martialed, maybe executed. Yes. Jake turned around. But it's the truth. It's the truth, Admiral Clark confirmed. Then tell me what I need to do. The plan was dangerous and probably impossible. Jake would take a small team on a secret mission to contact the Velcor leadership directly. If they could talk to the Velcor, if they could record the conversation, if they could prove the truth, then maybe they could stop the war. Lisa Grant gave him a list of 5 people. These were officers who already knew the truth, people who wanted to end the fighting. The first was Amy Brooks. She was good with languages and computers. The second was Ryan Foster, a tactical officer who had started asking questions about their orders months ago. The third was Helen Martinez, a doctor who studied alien biology. The fourth was Chris Lawson, a young pilot who could fly through anything. The fifth was Nicole Perry, a captain who had lost her son in the war. Jake met them in a secure room. They sat around a table and looked at each other. I know why we're here, Nicole said. Her voice was hard. My son died on the cruiser Independence. He was 19 years old. If this war is based on a lie, I want the people responsible to pay. We all lost someone, Ryan said. My sister. My best friend. Half my academy class. If there's a chance to stop this, I'm in. What exactly are we doing? Chris asked. He was only 22, but he was the best pilot Jake had ever seen. We're going to the Velcor home system, Jake said. We're going to meet with their leaders. We're going to record everything. Then we're going to broadcast the truth to every ship in both fleets at the same time. Helen leaned back in her chair. That's insane. We'll be killed before we get halfway there. Maybe, Jake admitted, but Admiral Clark is giving us access to new stealth technology. And we'll have Velcor communication codes. We can get through their lines. Getting through our own lines is the hard part. How do we broadcast to everyone at once? Amy asked. The military will shut us down the second we try. The Velcor have the technology to override our systems, Lisa Grant said from the doorway. Jake hadn't heard her come in. If they help us, we can transmit to every screen, every radio, every communication device in human space. It can't be stopped or jammed. If they help us, Ryan repeated. Why would they? We've been killing them for 3 years. Because they don't want war, Lisa said. They never did. Every battle they fight, they try to disable ships instead of destroying them. They target weapons, not crew quarters. They've been trying to minimize deaths while defending themselves. They're better than us, Nicole said quietly. Yes, Lisa agreed. They are. 2 days later, they launched in a small ship called the Horizon. It was fast and hard to detect. They carried fake identification codes that made them look like a supply transport. The first week of travel was quiet. Too quiet. Chris kept checking the sensors, expecting to see enemy ships or their own fleet. But space was empty. Strange, he said. Usually there's activity everywhere. Where is everyone? Big battle happening near the Centauri system, Ryan said, reading intelligence reports. Both sides committed major forces. That's probably why this sector is clear. Jake felt sick. While they were trying to stop the war, more people were dying. He hoped they weren't too late. On the 8th day, they picked up a distress signal. It was coming from an Earth cruiser called the Dakota. The ship was drifting in space, damaged and dark. Should we check it out? Chris asked. We don't have time, Ryan said. But Jake was already moving toward the sensor station. Something felt wrong. Scan for life signs. None, Amy reported. The crew abandoned ship, but the computer core is still active. Take us in, Jake ordered. They docked with the Dakota carefully. The ship was a mess inside. Blast marks on the walls, blood on the floor, emergency lights flickering. Ryan accessed the navigation computer while Helen and Amy checked other systems. Jake and Nicole walked through the empty corridors looking for clues about what happened. Commander, you need to see this, Ryan called out. They gathered around the navigation station. Ryan pulled up the ship's recent orders and mission logs. The Dakota was part of a strike force, he said. They were sent to attack a Velcor military installation. But look at the coordinates they were given. Helen pulled up actual scan data of that location. Her face went white. That's not a military base. Those are homes, schools, farms. That's a civilian colony. Amy's hands shook as she read through the operational orders. They were going to destroy it. Kill everyone. And the reports would say they eliminated a strategic target. Jake felt rage building in his chest. Copy everything. Every file. Every order. Every piece of evidence. Commander, this is more than just proof the war started with a lie, Nicole said. This is proof they're still lying. Still killing innocent people on purpose. I know, Jake said. That's why we're copying all of it. They spent 2 hours downloading data from the Dakota. When they were done, they had thousands of files. False intelligence reports, altered reconnaissance data, orders to attack civilian targets disguised as military strikes. How many colonies? Helen asked quietly. How many Velcor civilians have we killed? Nobody answered. Nobody wanted to know. They left the Dakota and continued toward Velcor space. The data they carried now was more important than ever. This wasn't just about stopping a war. This was about stopping a massacre. On day 12, they crossed into Velcor territory. Chris slowed the ship down and activated every stealth system they had. If this doesn't work, we'll be dead in about 30 seconds, he said. Encouraging, Nicole muttered. But nothing happened. No weapons locked onto them. No enemy ships appeared. They flew deeper into Velcor space without any problems. They're not even looking for us, Ryan said. Their sensors must have detected us, but they're not responding. Maybe they know we're not here to fight, Amy suggested. Or maybe it's a trap, Chris said. They flew for another day. Finally, they saw it. The Velcor home system, 3 planets orbiting a golden sun. Even from a distance, Jake could see cities on the planets. Not military bases, cities. Places where people lived normal lives. Scan for weapons platforms, he ordered. Helen checked the sensors. I'm not finding any. No orbital defenses. No military installations. Just civilian traffic and research stations. That can't be right, Ryan said. Every inhabited system has defenses. Not this one, Helen said. They really aren't a military culture. They never were. A single Velcor ship approached them. It was small, probably a patrol vessel. A voice came through their communication system. It spoke English with a strange musical accent. Human vessel, you are not transmitting military codes. State your purpose or you will be escorted out of the system. Jake took a deep breath. This was it. The moment everything changed. My name is Commander Jake Morrison of Earth. We are not here as soldiers. We come seeking peace. We know the truth about how this war started. We want to end it. There was a long silence. Jake could hear his own heartbeat. Then the Velcor voice spoke again. Follow our ship to the 3rd planet. You will meet with our council. Do not deviate from our course or you will be destroyed. Understood, Jake said. Chris followed the Velcor ship toward the planet. Nobody on the horizon spoke. They were about to meet the enemy face to face. They were about to learn if peace was even possible. The Velcor planet was beautiful. Jake had expected something cold and military, but instead he saw parks and gardens. Buildings that looked like they grew from the ground instead of being built on top of it. Rivers of clean water flowing through cities. The sky was orange at sunset, painting everything in warm colors. Chris landed the horizon at the coordinates they were given. It was a platform in the center of a large city. Velcor people walked in the streets below, going about their daily lives. Some of them stopped to look at the human ship. Jake wondered what they thought. Did they hate humans? Did they want revenge? Stay calm, he told his team. Remember, we're guests here. Be respectful. They walked down the landing ramp. The air smelled different from Earth, sweeter somehow. A group of Velcor waited for them at the bottom. Jake had seen Velcor before, but only in combat footage or intelligence photos. Seeing them in person was different. They were tall, maybe 7 feet on average. Their skin changed colors slowly, like oil on water. Their eyes were large and dark. They had no hair, but patterns moved across their skin like living tattoos. One of them stepped forward. The colors on their skin shifted to a soft blue. "I am Keeper of Memories," they said. Their voice was like music. "I lead the council of our world." "You are Commander Morrison?" "Yes," Jake said. He didn't know if he should bow or salute or shake hands. He just stood there awkwardly. "Come," Keeper said. "We will talk." They walked through the city. People stared at the humans. Some Velcor children pointed and whispered. Jake felt very aware that he was in enemy territory. Except the Velcor didn't act like enemies. They just looked curious. The council building was circular and open to the sky. 12 Velcor sat in a half circle. Keeper of Memories took a seat in the center. They gestured for the humans to stand in front of them. "You say you know the truth about this war," Keeper said. "Tell us what you know." Jake told them everything. About the intercepted message from the meditation. About the meeting with Admiral Clark and the others. About how the war started with a lie 30 years ago. About the conspiracy to keep it going. The Velcor listened without interrupting. Their skin colors changed as Jake talked. Blues and greens and sometimes flashes of red. When he finished, one of the younger council members stood up. Their skin was bright red, angry colors. "Why should we believe you?" they demanded. "Your people have killed thousands of us. You destroyed our ships. You attacked our colonies. You murdered civilians. And now you come here with words of peace?" "I have proof," Jake said. Amy pulled out a data device and held it up. "We have the original messages your people sent to Earth. We have the falsified intelligence reports. We have orders from our military showing they knowingly attacked civilian targets. Words and data can be faked," the angry council member said. "Then test it," Ryan spoke up. "Verify it. Check our ship's logs. Question us separately. Do whatever you need to do. We're telling the truth." Keeper of Memories raised a hand and the angry council member sat down. "We will verify your claims. But first answer me this. Why are you here? What do you want from us?" "We want to end the war," Jake said. "We want to broadcast the truth to both our fleets at the same time. Show the evidence. Let people decide for themselves. But we need your help. We need your technology to make sure the message reaches everyone." "And if your people simply deny it?" Keeper asked. "If they call you traitors and continue fighting?" Nicole stepped forward. "Then we make them prove their lies. We force them to show evidence that doesn't exist. We make the truth impossible to hide." "You would betray your own people?" the angry council member asked. "We would save our people," Nicole said firmly, "from a war based on murder and lies. My son died in this war. He died believing he was protecting Earth. He died for nothing. I won't let that happen to anyone else's child." Keeper of Memories studied them for a long time. The colors on their skin shifted through many shades. Finally, they settled on a soft blue. "We have been waiting for this moment," Keeper said, "waiting for humans to come seeking truth instead of death. But I must tell you something. We are not the peaceful people we once were." The council chamber became very quiet. "When your people first attacked us, we thought it was a mistake." Keeper continued. "We tried to communicate. We tried to explain, but you kept killing us. For 3 years we have defended ourselves while trying not to become like you. But there are many among our people who want revenge, who want to strike back with full force, who want to hurt Earth the way Earth has hurt us." "We wouldn't blame you," Helen said quietly. "I know," Keeper said. "That is what makes this so difficult. We have the power to destroy your world. Our technology is far beyond yours. We could end this war in a day if we chose violence over restraint. But if we do that, we become the monsters you thought we were. We prove that the universe is cruel and survival requires cruelty. So what will you do?" Jake asked. Keeper stood up. "We will help you. We will provide the technology you need. We will open our records to show the truth. But know this, Commander Morrison. If your people see this evidence and choose to continue the war anyway, we will defend ourselves with all our power. We have been patient. We have been merciful. But we will not allow our people to be slaughtered while we wait for humanity to find its conscience." "That's fair," Jake said. "Is it?" Keeper asked. "Fair would be justice for the thousands you have killed. Fair would be reparations for the damage you have done. Fair would be punishment for those who started this war. But we do not seek fairness. We seek peace. Remember that when your people question our motives. Over the next 2 weeks, Jake and his team worked with Velcor technicians. They reviewed all the evidence. The Velcor gave them access to their historical records from 30 years ago, every message they sent to Earth, every attempt at peaceful contact, every time they tried to communicate during battle, every ship they disabled instead of destroying. Helen spent time with Velcor doctors and was horrified by what she learned. The Velcor had developed weapons that could have wiped out human ships completely, but they never used them. They designed special weapons that would disable ships without killing crews. They had saved thousands of human lives while humans were trying to kill them. They're better than us in every way, Helen said one night. Smarter, more advanced, more ethical, and we tried to destroy them because we were afraid. Fear makes people do terrible things, Amy said. Chris was working with Velcor engineers on the broadcast system. The plan was to use a network of satellites and relay stations that the Velcor had hidden throughout human space. These would activate simultaneously and override every communication system, military channels, civilian news, personal devices, everything. The message would reach billions of people at once and there would be no way to stop it. This technology is incredible, Chris said. They could have used this to spy on us, to sabotage our systems, to win the war easily. But they didn't. Because they don't think like us, Ryan said. They don't see conflict as something to win. They see it as something to end. Nicole spent time talking to Velcor who had lost family in the war. She met a Velcor named Seeker of Truth whose partner had died on the Meditation, the same ship Jake's forces had destroyed. They sat together in a garden and shared their grief. I hated humans, Seeker said. Their skin was dark purple with sadness. I wanted revenge. I wanted every human ship destroyed. But Keeper of Memories told me that revenge would not bring my partner back. It would only create more grief for someone else. I'm sorry, Nicole said. I know sorry doesn't fix anything, but I am truly sorry. Your sorrow tells me that not all humans are the same, Seeker said. That gives me hope. Finally, everything was ready. The broadcast system was in place. The evidence was compiled. Jake would speak first, then Keeper of Memories would add the Velcor perspective. The whole thing would last about 15 minutes. 15 minutes to end a war. 15 minutes to expose the biggest lie in human history. Are you ready? Keeper asked Jake. Jake looked at his team. They all nodded. I'm ready, he said. Then let us show the universe what truth looks like. Jake stood in front of the camera. Behind him stood Keeper of Memories and the Velcor Council. To his side stood his team. Amy, Ryan, Helen, Chris, and Nicole. All of them were about to become famous or dead, possibly both. The Velcor technician gave a signal. The broadcast was live. Across human space, every screen suddenly showed the same image. Soldiers on warships looked up from their posts. Families on Earth stopped eating dinner. Politicians in the middle of meetings stared at their displays. Everyone saw Jake Morrison standing with the enemy. My name is Commander Jake Morrison, he began. His voice was steady even though his hands shook. For 3 years I have fought in a war I believed was necessary. I believed we were defending humanity against alien invaders. I believed every battle, every death, every sacrifice was protecting Earth and our colonies. He paused. I was wrong. We were all wrong. The screen split. One side showed Jake, the other side showed the evidence. Old transmissions from Velcor ships 30 years ago. Messages in dozens of human languages. We come in peace. We wish to learn. We offer friendship. The messages played one after another. This is first contact, Jake said. This is how the Velcor approached us. With open hands and peaceful words. And this is how we responded. The image changed. Military records showed Earth ships opening fire on Velcor vessels. Unprovoked, without warning. Ships that had their weapons powered down were torn apart. The recordings showed Velcor trying to escape, trying to communicate, trying to understand why they were being killed. A military faction attacked without authorization. Jake continued. They started a war based on fear. And when the truth came out, our leaders made a choice. They decided to hide it. They created false evidence. They changed historical records. They told us the Velcor attacked first. More evidence appeared. Internal government documents. Orders to falsify reports. Communications between officials discussing the cover-up. It was all there, dated and verified. For 30 years this lie was maintained, Jake said. And 3 years ago, when the Velcor finally fought back in self-defense, our leaders told us it was an unprovoked attack. They sent us to war against a peaceful civilization. They sent us to die for their lie. The screen showed combat footage, but this footage had been analyzed by experts. It showed Velcor ships targeting weapon systems only, human ships with their weapons destroyed but life support intact, escape pods being carefully avoided, disabled ships being left alone instead of finished off. "Look at how they fight," Jake said. "They could destroy our ships completely. Their technology is far beyond ours. But they choose to disable instead of kill. They choose mercy even while we show them none." Amy stepped forward. "I'm Lieutenant Amy Brooks. I analyzed 3 years of Velcor communications intercepts. In every battle, they broadcast the same message. Stop fighting. We don't want war. Please communicate." We never heard these messages because our commanders filtered them out. Ryan spoke next. "I'm Lieutenant Commander Ryan Foster. I reviewed tactical data from 200 engagements. The Velcor had opportunities to destroy our fleets completely. They never took those opportunities. They could have targeted our colony worlds. They never did. They could have struck Earth itself. They chose not to. They have been fighting a defensive war while trying to minimize casualties on both sides." Helen's turn. "I'm Dr. Helen Martinez. I studied Velcor biology and technology. They developed weapons that could kill entire crews instantly. They never used them. Instead, they designed weapons specifically to disable ships without harming people. They spent resources trying to save human lives while we were trying to end theirs." Chris looked directly into the camera. "I'm Ensign Chris Lawson. My brother died fighting the Velcor. He was 20 years old. He believed he was protecting our family. He died for a lie. How many others died believing they were heroes when they were really just pawns in a conspiracy?" Nicole spoke last. Her voice was hard with anger. "I'm Captain Nicole Perry. My son died on the Independence. He was 19. I was proud of his sacrifice. I thought he died defending humanity. Then I learned the truth. He died because people in power were too proud and too afraid to admit they made a mistake. They let the war continue. They let thousands die, all to protect themselves." Jake took over again. "We brought evidence to our superiors. Some of them already knew the truth. They've been gathering proof for years, but the faction that started this war still has power. They've been manipulating intelligence. They've been falsifying reports. They've been sending our forces to attack civilian targets and calling them military victories." The screen showed the data from the Dakota. Orders to destroy a Velcor colony. Scan data showing the colony was civilian. Children's schools, medical facilities, homes, and orders to eliminate everyone and report it as a strategic strike. People across human space watched in horror. On military ships, soldiers looked at each other with growing anger. On Earth, protests started forming outside government buildings within minutes. "The people responsible for this are still giving orders," Jake said. "They're still sending you to die. They're still lying to you. I'm not asking you to take my word for it. Look at the evidence. Verify it yourselves. Ask questions. Demand answers." Keeper of Memories stepped forward. Their skin was a calm blue color. "I am Keeper of Memories, leader of the Velcor Council," they said. "I will speak truth to you as your commander has done. 30 years ago, we found your world. We were excited. Another intelligent species. Another culture to learn from. We sent messages of peace. We offered knowledge and friendship. Your response was violence." Keeper's skin shifted to darker colors. "We did not understand. We thought it was fear or miscommunication. We tried harder to talk to you. We sent delegations. They were destroyed. We sent more messages. They were ignored. Finally, we understood. You did not want peace. You wanted us to leave or die. We left," Keeper continued. "We abandoned contact with Earth. We hoped time would change your minds. But 3 years ago, your ships came to our border worlds. They attacked our research stations. Our civilian vessels. We had no choice but to defend ourselves." The Velcor's skin flashed red briefly. "We could have destroyed you. Our technology is centuries beyond yours. We could have reduced your cities to ash. We could have made Earth uninhabitable. But we did not come to your world seeking violence. We will not become murderers because you are. So we fought carefully," Keeper said. "We disabled your ships. We avoided killing when possible. We tried to communicate even during battle. We hoped you would listen. You never did. Until now," Keeper's skin shifted back to blue. "Commander Morrison and his team came to us seeking truth. They risk their lives to end this war. They are what we hoped humans could be. Brave, honest, willing to admit mistakes and seek peace. But they are few, Keeper said, and we do not know if the rest of humanity shares their courage. So I say this plainly. We want peace. We have always wanted peace. But if you choose war, if you see this evidence and decide to continue killing us, we will respond with our full strength. We have been patient. We have been merciful. But we will not watch our people die while waiting for you to find wisdom. The choice is yours, Keeper said. Peace or destruction. Choose wisely. The broadcast ended. For a moment, nothing happened. Then everything happened at once. On military vessels across space, crews stopped following orders. Officers demanded explanations from their superiors. Some ships immediately stood down and broadcast messages of peace to nearby Velcor forces. On Earth, millions of people poured into the streets. They surrounded government buildings. They demanded answers. They demanded justice. Some military units stayed loyal to the old regime. They tried to continue fighting, but their crews refused. Soldiers put down their weapons. Pilots refused to launch strikes. Engineers sabotaged their own ships rather than use them to kill innocent people. Within 6 hours, the conspiracy collapsed. The faction leaders were arrested by their own security forces. Officers who had hidden the truth were removed from command. The entire military chain of command fell apart as people demanded accountability. Jake watched it all from the Velcor planet. News feeds showed the chaos spreading across human space. Some of it was violent. Some leaders tried to fight back. But they couldn't win against the truth. It's working, Amy said, tears running down her face. It's actually working. People died for this, Nicole said. Thousands of people. We can't forget that. We won't, Jake promised. This is just the beginning. Now comes the hard part. Building peace. Keeper of Memories approached them. Your people are in chaos. Do you wish to return and help restore order? Jake thought about it. No, they need to figure this out themselves. We'd just be a distraction. Besides, there's work to do here. What work? Keeper asked. Building trust, Jake said. Showing both our people that cooperation is possible. That's the only way this peace will last. Keeper's skin shifted to a warm golden color. Then you are wise as well as brave, Commander Morrison. Let us begin. The trials took 6 months. Every person involved in the conspiracy was brought before courts. Some were military officers. Some were government officials. Some were intelligence agents who had falsified reports for 3 decades. The evidence was overwhelming. There was no way to deny it. Some of the accused tried to justify their actions. They said they were protecting humanity. They said the Velcor were still a threat. They said the lie was necessary. Nobody believed them anymore. Jake testified at the trials. So did his team. They told the courts everything they had learned. The Velcor sent representatives too. Keeper of Memories spoke about the ships that were destroyed, the people who died, the children who lost parents, the parents who lost children. We do not ask for revenge, Keeper said. We ask only that you remember what lies cost, that you never again choose fear over truth. The sentences were harsh. Life in prison for the leaders, decades of imprisonment for those who helped maintain the lie. Everyone involved lost their positions, their honors, their reputations. But the trials were just the beginning. The real work was rebuilding trust between humans and Velcor. Jake was offered a promotion to Admiral. He turned it down. Instead, he accepted a position as liaison between Earth and the Velcor worlds. His job was to help coordinate the peace process and build cooperation. His team stayed with him. They all took positions in the new joint human and Velcor administration. The first project was a research station. It would be built in neutral space, staffed by both species working together. Scientists from Earth and Velcor would study the galaxy side by side. Jake stood at the construction site 6 months after the trials ended. The station was half finished. Human workers and Velcor workers moved around each other, sometimes awkward but trying. It was a start. Commander Morrison, a voice said. Jake turned and saw a young Velcor approaching. Their skin was pale green, the color of nervousness. I am Seeker of Light. I wanted to meet you. Hello, Jake said. Is there something I can help you with? My mother was on the meditation, Seeker said. The ship your forces destroyed. She was a botanist studying plant life on different worlds. Jake felt his stomach drop. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know, Seeker said. I have heard you apologize many times in the recordings. I have seen your testimony at the trials. You were following orders. You did not know the truth. That doesn't make it better, Jake said. No, Seeker agreed. It does not. My mother is still dead, but I wanted you to know something. She would have liked this. Seeker gestured at the construction around them. She believed that different species should work together. Share knowledge. Learn from each other. This station is what she dreamed of. Jake didn't know what to say. I am training to be a botanist like her, Seeker continued. When this station is complete, I will work here. I will study plants with human scientists. I will do the work my mother never got to finish. She would be proud of you, Jake said. I hope so, Seeker said. Their skin shifted to a lighter green. And I hope she would be proud that I chose to build instead of hate. That is harder than revenge. But it is what she would have wanted. Seeker walked away, leaving Jake standing alone. He thought about all the people who died in the war. Humans and Velcor both. So much loss. So much pain. All because of a lie. But here on this construction site, something new was growing. People who should have been enemies were working together. Learning each other's languages. Sharing meals. Becoming friends. Amy ran up to him out of breath. Commander, you need to see this. She pulled up a video on her tablet. It showed Earth's new government making an announcement. They were offering full reparations to the Velcor. Money, resources, technology, whatever was needed to repair the damage from the war. It's not enough, Jake said. No, Amy agreed. Nothing will ever be enough. But it's something. More news came over the following weeks. Joint defense agreements between Earth and the Velcor worlds. Trade partnerships. Cultural exchange programs. Medical cooperation. Every day, the two species became more connected. Not everyone was happy about it. There were protests on Earth. Some people said the Velcor couldn't be trusted. Some said humanity was giving up too much. Some said the trials weren't harsh enough or were too harsh. There were problems on the Velcor side too. Some Velcor wanted nothing to do with humans. They had lost too much. The pain was too fresh. Keeper of Memories had to work hard to convince their own people that peace was worth pursuing. But slowly, things improved. Chris started a pilot training program that included both species. Human pilots learned Velcor flight techniques. Velcor pilots learned human tactics. They competed in friendly races and simulation battles. Helen opened a joint medical research facility. Human and Velcor doctors worked on curing diseases that affected both species. They made breakthroughs that neither side could have achieved alone. Ryan became head of security for the research station. He trained mixed teams of humans and Velcor to work together. At first, they didn't trust each other. But after facing emergencies together, repairing damaged systems together, saving each other's lives, the trust came. Nicole did something different. She started a memorial project, a place where people from both species could remember those who died in the war. It was built on a moon between Earth and the Velcor home system, a neutral place for shared grief. The memorial had 2 walls. One listed the names of every human who died. One listed the names of every Velcor. The lists were the same length. Thousands of names. Thousands of lives cut short by lies and fear. Nicole stood at the memorial on the day it opened. Seeker of Light stood next to her. They were both crying. One human mother who lost her son. One Velcor child who lost their mother. Different species, but the pain was the same. They should have known each other, Nicole said. My son and your mother. They would have liked each other. Yes, Seeker said. They would have. A year after the broadcast, Jake received a message from Earth. The new government wanted him to come back. They wanted to honor him and his team. Give them medals. Call them heroes. Jake almost refused. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt like someone who had taken too long to see the truth. How many people died while he followed orders without questioning them? But Keeper of Memories convinced him to go. Your people need symbols of hope, Keeper said. Let them see you. Let them see that admitting mistakes and choosing peace is heroic. So Jake went back to Earth. His whole team went with him. They stood in front of billions of people watching on screens around the world. The president gave a speech about courage and truth. Then they received their medals. But the part Jake remembered most was after the ceremony. A young girl approached him. She was maybe 10 years old. She had a drawing in her hands. I made this for you, she said shyly. The drawing showed humans and Velcor holding hands under a bright sun. It was simple, childish, beautiful. It's perfect, Jake said. Thank you. My teacher said you stopped the war, the girl said. Is that true? Jake thought about how to answer. I helped end it. But a lot of people worked together to stop the fighting, and a lot of people are working to make sure it never happens again. I want to work with the Velcor when I grow up, the girl said. I want to be a scientist and discover new things with them. Then study hard, Jake said. And never stop asking questions. Never stop looking for truth. The girl ran back to her parents. Jake watched her go and felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. 2 years after the broadcast, the research station was complete. It was beautiful. A massive structure floating in space with sections designed by humans and sections designed by Velcor. Different architectural styles blending into something new. The opening ceremony included people from both worlds. Scientists, politicians, military officers, civilians. Everyone gathered to celebrate what they had built together. Jake stood at a window looking out at the stars. Amy joined him. Do you ever think about what would have happened if we hadn't found that message from the meditation? She asked. All the time, Jake said. The war might still be going. More people would be dead. Maybe one side would have won eventually. Maybe we would have destroyed each other completely. But we didn't, Amy said. We chose different. Some of us did, Jake said. Enough of us. Keeper of Memories approached them. Their skin was bright gold, the color of joy. The first research teams are boarding the station now, Keeper said. 20 projects starting this week. Humans and Velcor working side by side. This is what first contact should have been 30 years ago. Better late than never, Jake said. Indeed, Keeper agreed. And perhaps there is value in the hard path we took. We learned what we are capable of. Both the good and the terrible. That knowledge will serve us as we move forward. Do you think it will last? Amy asked. The peace? If we work at it, Keeper said. Peace is not a destination. It is a choice we make every day. Some days will be harder than others. But as long as we remember what war costs, I believe we will choose wisely. Jake looked out at the station, at the people moving through it, at the future being built in the space where war used to be. The war had been a lie, but the peace was real, and that made all the difference.